welcome to our TechEd 22 workshop, virtual workshop on central monitoring of integration scenarios using SAP Cloud ALM. My name is Gabriela Gahse. I'm part of the product management team of SAP Integration Suite. I'm over 20 years at SAP and in the integration area around 10 years. With me is my colleague from SAP Cloud ALM, Markus Bechler. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So hello, everyone, and also warm welcome to this session today. My name is Markus Bechler. I'm the responsible product manager for the integration and exception monitoring application within SAP Cloud ALM, and I will support Gabriela during the session if a question comes up with regards to SAP Cloud ALM integration and exception monitoring.
And with us is also my colleague from the product management team of SAP Integration Suite, Sani Kapoor. He is the lead PM for our cloud integration capability. So if we have any specific questions regarding SAP Cloud Integration or the cloud integration capability or SAP Integration Suite, he can help us too. And the complete PM team is behind us in case of any questions from your side. With that, I think we can start. I'm just jumping directly to the GitHub. So everything that we have is on GitHub. We don't have any extra presentation slides or things. So you have everything with you, and you can do it now together with me, also later on, as you like. So what is about this session? Very important is that nowadays, a lot of things is going into the cloud. The hybrid IT landscape is growing. It's evolving very, very speedy, very quickly, because the pressure on the market and so on. And therefore, it's very important to have a central place for any kind of monitoring use cases. For example, to look where a message has been stuck, for example, in a business scenario, or to check whether a specific cloud service or an on-premise system is, from a technical view perspective, healthy, it's stable enough, and so on. And here the SAP Cloud ALM tool can help. So we have here different use cases. We are looking here for on integration, exception monitoring, and also on exception monitoring. Yeah, on health monitoring. Okay, so we will have a deeper look into that. But first, just for you, so it's not necessary to be a specialist for the both products. If you want to get a little bit more information, you can take a look into a Discovery Center mission that we have for the Integration Suite, and also on two community blog posts that have been published at the beginning of the year already. So here the user interfaces are updated, but I think the context, the concept are clear. And from the Cloud ALM side, we have here an expert portal with a lot of information about the supported products, for example. Not only Integration Suite is supported, but a lot of other products too, and also a kind of a documentation. With that, I would like to jump into the system landscape that we have prepared for this exercise. Sorry. So what we have here, what you can see here in this diagram, in this picture, we have one tenant for SAP Cloud ALM here below, and above we have 6 different Integration Suite tenants, 2 tenants for 3 different regions. So we have two tenants for Europe, 2 tenants for the US region, and 2 for APJ, 6 tenants. And these tenants, of course, are cloud integration real tenants, but we have in Cloud ALM also a kind of representatives, and we are calling this at the moment for this exercise Cloud Integration Service. So we are registering services in the landscape management of SAP Cloud ALM to such a cloud integration tenant. We have already pre-configured according to these 6 available Integration Suite tenants, 6 default cloud integration services in the landscape management service. If you want, you can also create your own self-managed cloud integration service just to see how to do this registration, and also how to do how to activate alerts within exception monitoring, also in health monitoring. just to get experience with a configuration. But if you don't want to do it, you can just take the default, the 6 default cloud integration services. So here you can see the different tenants that we have provided in the different regions. And if you want to get also the knowledge about the configuration in the integration suite sub account and also in the CALM account, you can have a look later on, for example, in this section here. So you have to do some things, of course, in the sub account there to provide the relevant roles that are listed. And necessary is also for, I'm just going very shortly because this is probably interesting into that. It's important that we are, it is the process integration runtime is here enabled, and we are using API plan. And this API plan is important later for the authorization, just to make sure that you don't make any failures later on. So the access information that is relevant for all of us. So we have, and a colleague of us has created an application. It's called Tenant Booker application. And this application provides you the access to our systems. So with this application, you have just to, you will get it over this link. You can just click on this link and you will get it. And then you would go to this user interface. You can book on the tenant. I've done this already. And with my user ID, I've got a, oh, that's good, perfect, I go out. I will get here a password. And with that, you can get a specific integrations with tenant assigned. Please keep it in mind. For example, this person would get assigned to the US 01 tenant, and please go into this tenant to work on iFlows, for example, and look a little bit more on this tenant. Then we have a load balancing in the back, and we have a lot of attendees for this session, and I think that's better for each of us. But with this Booker app, Tenant Booker application, you get also access and the roles to the CALM tenant. So this is also available. Below here, you find the link to the CALM tenant. And for the integration suite tenant, this is the first link that it's coming back from the Booker tenant. I think this is the most important, but very important to mention when I have this user interface here open, please, for the exercise 1.2, when we create an HTTP endpoint for secure authentication to the cloud integration tenant, please use the API plan. Therefore, don't use the two information here above, here blurred out. Please use the client ID, client secret from the API plan. Okay. With that, I'm going back to the first slide again. Exactly here. So we have different exercises here. The first exercise is only for those who would like really to register and own a self-managed cloud integration service. The others can use the default, as I've said. Then we have 3 different completely independent exercises. The first is on exception monitoring. The second is on integration monitoring, where we really monitor a business scenario for an external workforce. Exactly, and the last one, health monitoring, this is the last one. So they are independent, but we are going through all the things now in the order. Here below, you see the complete list of exercises that we have. So if you're in the exercise somewhere in the folder structure here below, you just have to go into this in this root folder, and then you come back to this slide, to this page, and you will get this index, this kind of table of content, and can just go into that. So with that, I would say we can start. I would start with the exercise 1, and people who only want to watch, you can watch it, or we can also start with exercise 2 already. So what we want to do, we want to register a self-managed cloud integration in Cloud ALM. Exactly, so this is not necessary for all. And with that, I'm doing the registration in LMS. So we have to log into Cloud ALM. I've done this already. I'm just doing a refresh of the session. And then you see here under administration, the part landscape management. We're opening this, and this is opening automatically in a new tab. And here you see that we have already some default cloud integration services prepared. So you can use one of them depending on the tenant you have been assigned through the Tenant Booker application. And we are doing now an add, taking our name. Where is it? Where is it here? I'm taking now the TechEd EU02 and take my user ID. Description is completely optional. And then I take my user ID here again. Here it is necessary to type in the service type, and the role is test. And I haven't opened my, wait a second, I wasn't prepared. Best. So I'm on exactly here. I need the URL now, the root URL from the user interface. This is this one. From the Tenant Booker app, we have in the end an IT spaces. Please delete this and keep it only until .com. This is sufficient. So UO2 for me and with all information. And we see it here now. Just to go back to the exercise, and I can show you what we have done. So I've entered here the information, the cloud integration, the tenant name that you have got from the Tenant Booker application with your user ID. Yeah, and then you can take a tenant ID. We have this cooking at the moment. The service type is the cloud integration capability of SAP Integration Suite. Hey, in this way, it's a tenant role, and you have to take here the second row of the Tenant Booker, this URL, but without the IT spaces. That's all what we have done for the registration of a service, if you want to do this manually. And then we have to add an endpoint to a managed service. So if you have already done the registration, you have to click again on the service, and then you have to enter the necessary information for the authentication for secure connectivity to the cloud integration tenant. So here we are taking, I'm just doing it again. Probably first I'm showing to you. So we are taking here a username for you. And then we have to really take all the use cases that we have: exception monitoring, integration monitoring, and also health monitoring. And then the root URL is included automatically, and that's all for the first part. So we are here in this tab. Where is my? I'm just doing here search to find my service exactly. It's in status new because nothing has been done. We can see it here again, and here in the area of endpoints, I go on add. And what is what we will hold? Yeah, okay, this way. Wait a second. It's our TechEd EU02, and at the end my username. So this is now my cloud integration service read for me. And important is to have here really all the use cases I will do at the moment only 2, and we'll see what happens if I have 1 missed. Okay, then I do the authentication, and here it's a little bit easy for me. You have to take it from a Tenant Booker application, and I have a JSON here with me. I have this now in my buffer, and I can just paste it. And afterwards, I check the connection to the Cloud Integration Tenant, and you see that I have here 2 successful connections, but only to 2 use cases, so 1 is missing. And therefore, I'm here adding the second, the third one. Check the connection again. And this is fine, all fine, and I can save the endpoint. That's all that we have to do in landscape management service. And with that, we go back to the exercise. So we have selected 3 different use cases. We have provided the root URL from the Tenant Booker application. We have included the different authentication information from the Tenant Booker application. Yeah? And that's all. So here you see in the screenshot again, just to be clear, take the ones from the API client ID secret, and here the token URL and also the URL that you need for the registration of the service itself. So, and if something is failing, you probably have missed a use case that might be the case, or please check the parameters again. So then we can check here also on this area here, the connectivity again. I will do this in a minute. And then we are fine with the registration. Okay, here do with that. And you see that the status here in this area is changing. Okay, the connectivity is fine. And we have now a good connectivity, a secure connectivity to the EU02 tenant. That's all we have to do. And now we have to do the configuration. You see for the different capabilities here. So for exception monitoring, health monitoring, and integration monitoring, it's not configured. And this we have to do directly in the use cases, in the applications. So with that, we are going to the next exercise, also here in the pages. We are activating the data collection for integration exception monitoring. So for health monitoring, this is done automatically and nothing has to be done, only for integration exception monitoring. For that, we are now logged already on in Cloud ALM, and we are now going to the integration and exception monitoring. I see that I haven't written it down, but just go to operations and then click on integration and exception monitoring. And here I have to do a selection, a scope selection. Here in integration exception monitoring, we have a look on business scenarios, but also on services. At the moment for the exception monitoring exercise, we are only looking on services. Therefore, I am changing here the scope from business services to services. And you see then in the list here below, after clicking on a go, a lot of different services that are registered here in this Cloud ALM tenant. Yeah, and because we have here a lot, and with all the attendees, it's getting more and more. We can also select here a service type just to focus only on cloud integration. Done this here with the select, again a go. And I see here now not only one, so also from others, my cloud integration tenant, but I select also the other default ones, yeah, just to show and to see what the others have done. So the default and my self-managed cloud integration service are now in the focus. And now we are here in the home page of the integration and exception monitoring. And here is my own self-managed application. To activate now the data collection, we can go to Edit Collection, and you see here the data collection is inactive. Just to switch the toggle, and that's all. Do a save and a close, and that's all. You can do the same also here with this configuration button. You see here the different default cloud integration services that we have prepared, but also the one here. Just click on that, and that's fine. Now it should be also activated, the configuration in the landscape management service. So this is all from this side regarding the self-management, this LMS. I can do here refresh. Probably we see that the new is now changed to active already, but it could take a little bit time. So I'm searching for my own one. Yeah, it's active, as you can see here. That's fine. Good. With that, we can go out of the landscape management service and back to our exercise. So we have activated now the data collection. Yeah, had brought the different cloud integration services in scope, and we can check also in the homepage whether the cloud the data collection is working. Here is an icon quality, but we will see this also later. We have to look on this quality icon several times. And yes, I think we've done this. This is something we can also discuss a little bit later. With that, I would say we can jump to the next exercise. This is the monitoring of deployment exception. So, is that true? No, that's was wrong. Yeah, that was okay. Sorry. Exactly, that's completely fine. I was confused at the moment. So here we would like to have a look on exceptions that occur in cloud integration capabilities. Exceptions in Integration Suite at the moment, only deployment exceptions will be coming up in the SAP Cloud ALM. We have prepared something, and I would like to explain you first the scenario of this exercise. So we have prepared a specific integration flow. You can see here in this flow that we have two processes, a producer and a consumer. They are communicating flow-to-flow communication via a process direct sender and an adapter. It's a very, very simple iFlow. It's doing only hello world. In the first part, in the complete part, we don't have any sender and receiver. It's running only once after deployment without the sender. And in the producer, a Groovy script is bringing some things like hello world into the payload. Some things are written also in the header. Header and payload can be transferred to the consumer process via process direct. And therefore, we have the payload. A Groovy script is extending a little bit the payload. Further information is brought into the custom header property. And custom header properties can be consumed as business context information within a Cloud ALM. This is leveraged. And another point is leveraged. Here, you see here a diagram that explains again here. So the payload is brought back to the consumer process and then to the producer process again. So we have two different processes here that you can see also in the MPL. Very important for this flow-to-flow communication is that for this process direct adapter, we have channel IDs, and these channel IDs has to be unique and identical. So if a producer process 005 is communicating with a consumer process with channel ID 007, that doesn't work. And we can really easily, only with configuration, produce some mismatching, and that we have leveraged. Okay, now we are going into the integration and exception monitoring. Here I have explained how to bring the thing into the scope selection. Probably I can explain, I think I haven't forgotten that before. We have already the services in scope. But the scope is only a kind of a search. So in the back, the data collection to all registered services is taking place. And if you switch the scope, then you have already all the corrected, the updated information available after the last, since the last data collection. Good, this we have done already. So we have our registered cloud integration services in place. And then we can go to the next point. This is on the overview page. So what I have explained here in this page, later for you, just for your consumption, when you have a little bit time in between, and this will probably be the place, yes. And this is something that you can't see in your test tenant. So this picture, this screenshot is not available with the 6 tenants and with our Cloud ALM that we have in place for this exercise. But I brought it in because just to show you how it could look like. It's a screenshot from a demo tenant where we have a lot of different business scenarios in place. And what you can see is a mixture of business scenarios and also services. So the things with the 3 dots are business scenarios. The others here, on the right side, are services. You can, with that, really oversee different kind of things in your large hybrid IT landscape. Okay, this what I will show later on, and we are focusing on the footer of each card, and these are really completely equal, whether it is a business scenario or service, and this is relevant. So if we have time, we can do this later, and you can refer to this page, exercise 2.2, if you need more information on these different functionalities that are available. And available also on this page is the color coding of the different things. So what we see here, for example, on the left, and this is the case for the exercise 3, that we have here 3 different nodes, all in red, and also here this bar here on the left side is in red. That means something is happening. We have some faulty messages in the different systems, and therefore the complete business scenario is red. And that's the same also for the services. With that, we will start to go into the details of our services, our cloud integration service. And this is again relevant only for those who are constructors and have registered their self-managed cloud integration service. The others have not to do anything because in our default cloud integration services, the alerts are already activated. So what we are doing here, we are going to Cloud ALM again. Okay, we are not activating. We are at the moment. I'm a bit. Yeah, that's an issue here. I would like to activate. Okay, we are doing this first. That's fine. That's good logic. Good. I've added this a little bit later. So one thing is we have alert in place for all monitoring application within Cloud ALM. If you want not only to have alerts that are really relevant to have a proactive kind of monitoring, also email notification makes sense to have an email in your inbox just to know that something has happened in a business scenario or on a system. And therefore, if you want to do this, you can also add your email address to Cloud ALM. I've added this to the exercise just to let you know how you want to do it. So if we go here to the notification management, and then we can do an add some recipient, and then the status would be pending. You would go into your inbox, and after give your consent, you will get here your email address verified, and that's all. Then later you can really reuse this. I just show it to you very shortly. Notification management is the right application for that. Here I have only a dummy user. So see here, here's my user ID. I hope there is no neither shark available. And what you would do is you just put in here your email address. You are safe. You would get the email and give your concern, and that's all. Good. And with that, we can really start now to activate the alert. And this has been, again, has to be done in the integration exception monitoring. We are going to the configuration. And here in the configuration, we have two different parts. We have integration exception monitoring. This is coming in this way. And we are doing a filtering. The filtering, I show it you directly in the system. Good, edit configuration. So data collection is on. I have here integration artifact deployments. And here, this is the filter that is doing the data collection. Yeah? And therefore, I would like, with my self-managed cloud integration service, filter only for my own integration flows and not for the other integration flows that are available during the session. And therefore, I rename this filter a little bit. And I say also the artifact name should contain my user ID. So later on, my Bechler will have this user ID. This is important. And the default cloud integration services don't have this additional filter. So for example, the TechEd US 01 cloud integration service has exactly the same filter without the line of the artifact name. So these kind of filtering doesn't happen. So we see all integration flows. So with that, we can close the configuration and go now to the events, just to see it also here. So we have here done this thing. We have done the filtering to squeeze down the number of exceptions within this cloud integration service. And then we go to the events. And with the events, we have two different kinds of events, on messages and on exception deployment exceptions. And here we want to change it. I would like also to check, okay, this name. Okay. We are going to this one, and here we have want to activate it. And I hope I can rename it, or you can also add a new one. So I would like to rename this way, AO, like my tenant. Then I can say, for example, deployment exception. And to be clear that it's I take this one because this is the alert that will be available in the alerting, and I can later search very easily with my user ID. The create is already activated. And if I would have an email address, I can add this also here. But at the moment, we don't have any valid email address, any valid recipient, therefore nothing happened. Also, this Elisa is not verified and therefore doesn't appear here. Okay, I switch this again off. So we have changed the alert name just to find it a little bit easier in the alerting. In the default cloud integration services, this doesn't happen. So here the name is only EU, either the tenant ID with the deployment exception without the username. Just save it. And after here, within the configuration, one hint to you, please slowly save, wait until it's really saved, and then close. I also would like to check again, it was a little bit slowly, whether this happens really. Okay, 1 second, just to be sure. Then we don't have to do this later. What you can see that also another alert is activated. This is on 40 messages, and we are here raising only alert in an aggregated version. Yeah? And therefore, the grouped version is activated. I just only want to check whether this happens, has been saved really. Oop. Probably I do a refresh. Let us continue. If it doesn't work, I can check the configuration. Good. Next point is that we have done the activation of the alert. If you want, you can also add an email notification, and that's all that we have done within this exercise. With that, we are now going to the integration suite. So please go to use for the access for your cloud integration tenant, your SAP integration suite tenant. Use the first link that you got from the tenant booker application. Yeah? I've opened it already, the IN280 tenant. Just do a refresh. And what you can see here, it is our new homepage of SAP Integration Suite, where you see a lot of further information regarding integrations and monitoring. Here we will go to the integration part, integration designer. Please take the package TechEd 22, integration 280, go to artifacts. And here we have this prepared integration flow, hello world. Please don't use it directly, copy it, and with an ending of your user name. That would be good, then we can really differentiate. I've forgotten the two. I just copy my user ID here. So this way, okay. Then we have it. We go to configure. We don't have to edit the integration flow. It's all done. We go to more. And here you can see that the hello world is already here in place. So it might be that the hello world, the original one, is wrong. So please here, and probably to a colleague of us, please remove to set it to the original place. So the default should be channel 001, channel 001. These both channels here, and the user ID is the one, your user ID. This is the way really to provoke a deployment exception. This is important, okay? Then we can just do a deployment. Our original, automatically you are saving your configuration. And then we are going with that. Just go to, I duplicate this to have both. And we are going to the monitoring of integration content. And you see that we have here this integration flow is not deployed. So we have here a deployment message, a technical message that we have here. You can't deploy it because we have multiple consumers are not supported. So the producer process has the channel ID 001, and this consumer has it too. So the consumer channel is channel ID 001, and this doesn't work. And therefore we have a deployment action exception. And the other iFlow that it's necessary for doing is this other iFlow here. This is exactly the same, but please don't delete it. That's very important to have it in. Good, that's all. And with that, we are going back to the integration suite here, to the integration exception monitoring, and also to our exercise. just to go through the exercise if there are information, and just for you also to see that we have exactly done this. So we have logged in, taking the first URL from the Tenant Booker app. We have gone to the integration designer, taking the integration package. Then we have copied the original integration flow, adding your user ID in the back. Then we are configuring the iFlow and putting in only your user ID, and above it should be channel_002 for both channel parameters. That's important. Then we move to the integration monitor we have done, and we have seen that we have provoked a deployment exception. Now we want to see this deployment exception. With that, we are going again to the integration exception monitoring and doing a refresh. So this is this refresh is for the user interface only, and not to pull information from the cloud integration tenant. It's really only refreshing the user interface, and it's automatically, the default is 500 seconds, and you can change this also to other frequencies, but I keep it as it is, but I do a refresh of the user interface. And I can see that we have here a lot of messages that is coming from other things. That doesn't matter, but we have for this EU02 tenant already one exception. I have prepared already upfront another exception. It might be that this exception that we have deployed isn't available yet, because data collection is, so Cloud ALM has data collection in place, and every 5 minutes the data from Cloud Integration Tenant is pulled. So this happens only every 5 minutes. And what you can see here, wait a second, important is that you have to click, where is it? I have too many things in place here, to this link here. And then you can see that we have one iFlow here in place, but this is not the one that we have deployed so far. You can see this number, my user ID, it's a fake one. It's only 12345. But to imagine how it would look like. Back to the exception overview. Here you see for my self-registered, self-managed cloud integration service, we have this other iFlow in place. The data quality is also fine. Here in the integration suite, you have seen that the deployment exception happens at 9:39. And back here, the user interface has been updated a little bit later. It could be available, but the data collection hasn't taken place. That was before. And we can check when the last data collection happens here within this data quality information. Here we can just click on status of the last data collection. And then you can see the jobs related to this specific cloud integration service. So it's not the case that all available services are pulling the information from the tenants. It's really separate from one service to the other. So this service have now pulled the last information, but before it was at 9:41. We can go back and do the refresh now. And it should be now available. So I've used the default channel here, not the self-registered, but it seems that only this one is there. I don't know why at the moment. So go back again, this one. This is also the case. So again, wait a second. So it happened at 9:39. The job was later. It should be available. And then we go back again to a refresh. I take now the default one. No, it's not happening, but I will show it this one now. Okay. Just imagine that here the exception should be available. Probably someone in the back can check what happens here. Then we can go to the message details of this exception details of this exception. You can see here that the integration flow name, and also here the information. So here this place here, this message here is empty because only global message information is displayed, and cloud integration doesn't provide this information, only technical information, as we have seen in the integration content monitor. But this will be available in future, and you will have also here a direct link to the local monitoring, just to jump from this exception message detail, exception detail directly to the monitoring of cloud integration. And this helps, I think, everyone to really, if you see an exception in the Cloud ALM, to jump directly to cloud integration. So this is at the moment not the place, but probably also interesting to see for you. Just go back to this view, and I like this view very much. Here you can see it's a little bit boring, but after some hours, if you have already also executed the exercises, you will see a little bit more, not only the arrows, but also other things. Later in exercise 3, I can show you a similar view a little bit more. So that was on this exercise, how to see that. Yes, so you are going to the integration artifact, and if the data collection happens, you see then your integration flow as an exception, and also the details with a timestamp when the deployment exception happens, the user who is responsible for that, the integration, the artifact name, and also the service with a link in future. Now we are going to the alert section. So we are already in integration exception monitoring. So if you are, as a constructor, have registered your own integration tenant, you will see your own alert. There are now different ways to come to the alerting. Just go back to the home page. One hint for the exercise. Please never use the browser back. It's better to use a breadcrumb or the left navigation. That's easier for these applications. Good, so we are in the overview again, and you see here the alerts in below. You can jump directly to the alerting, and this is context sensitive, so you would see only the alerts of this service. And I see that in the US we have a lot of alerts, but these are related to messages, not to exceptions. I'm going now to the alerts of in general. I think that would be fine. And we see this is the other way that we can do. We can just click on this exclamation mark, and we are in alerting now. And you can see that we have a lot of alerts. Yeah, we haven't used the context sensitive search at the moment, but we can do a filtering now. And I am now filtering on my name, and let me see whether we find now finally the exception that we have provoked. Yes, it is available. Okay, interesting. That probably I've made a failure in the configuration, yeah, because now it's showing up a different user. Okay, it's a little bit confusing. Imagine this would be the right user ID under object details. So we are going now to the details of this exception. And what you can see here is now that we have here the details. So the rating of this exception is, of course, critical, because we have a deployment exception. You can see when it's happened and still when, and you have also here the details of that alert, and you can go further to that and see also information. So here you see the same information as for the exception details that we have seen before under exceptions. You can start here also to create a ServiceNow ticket or just trigger an operation flow. What is also possible under actions is that you can just confirm and with that delete the alert, or you can add a comment. You can assign someone. So if you have a valid email address, again in Cloud ALM, it's possible to add this person. At the moment, we don't have any person here in this exercise, and therefore we can't add any processor for that. Yes, that's the point that we can do, and this is really very helpful in Cloud ALM that we have this collaboration. So you see really proactive, and you have an alert that something happens in a system or in a business scenario, that a message is stuck, that you have a technical issue, for example, a certificate has expired. You get this over an alert or an email and correct directly. In the email, you have a link where you can click on and then navigate further until you have the details, and also jump context sensitive to the local monitoring. Or you can just have a look into the details here under exception, or in other areas that we haven't spoken about. So we have done now this. We have been in the exception. We have done a filtering on the object details. You can also filter on object details as explained here. I have done the search before. I've shown it for the alert name. So if you have an alert in the alert name, your user ID, you can put it in the alert name. If not, if you're using a default cloud integration service, just use the object details to search for your user-specific integration flow. I hope this was fine, okay, because I've used a different filtering than explained in the exercise. It's difficult to have both in parallel here. Okay, we have talked about the alert details here. And with that, we can just jump now again to Integration Suite and do the configuration of the process direct channels now correctly. So we are going now again to the iFlow and into this configuration part. So this is this way. I'm just going to my iFlow. I've used it. Yes, I can see I've used the other one. I'm doing this way now. I'm configuring my iFlow, and there, that was the failure in the beginning. I was wondering what happened. It was too fast. So I'm just deploying this first one. And have a look on the other one, but it can be that, yeah, here I take corrected also this one, and we have two. Oh, here, this is the point. Okay, that was the failure. Okay, you see what I've done? Okay, but we correct it now. So I will just provoke again here a deployment exception for this one. Save and deploy. And we have done this for that one, and now we correct this. So now we want to provide a unique channel ID, similar again, therefore both ways. And this is really unique for my, therefore we correct it now here, that way. But we correct it also for the other iFlow. This is this one. We have provoked already the exception, and now we correct it to have it resolved. And we should see these resolved alerts also later. Good. With that, we can go back to the integration exception monitoring. but just go to the exercise to see what we have done. So we have corrected here now the integration flow. We have used the user ID also in the end of the channel names, just to have it similar and unique. Exactly, we can go to the integration content monitor. We haven't done this. Here I have this tab already opened, and I do a refresh, and we can see that both integration flows are now started and are running. So we should have now also in the MPL, just go to the MPL, I have a breadcrumb. We have here several flows. I just take the last ones. So this one is completed. And you see here below that we have several custom headers available. So the consumer will be, so I've just brought this into the custom headers just to see that. And also for the other one, exactly the same. Yeah. With that, we can go to the exception monitoring and do a refresh of the user interface first. Best in the homepage. Okay. We can take now the default EU01 and check first here again. So when has it happened? I haven't checked. I don't have the time in mind when the deployment has resolved, was okay. So the last refresh was on 9:57, and let us check whether we can see it in the exception page. We can see here again all. So what you can see here, so I have, if this is a little bit tricky, if you go into the exception overview, and this happens to me very often. So if you click a little bit too above, then you see really all categories, not only the exceptions. Please really go directly on the link. And then you should see the following. Yes, now it's working. That you have here above this line, really only the exception deployment exception messages. So we have here one that's an old one, and therefore let us check when the next data collection will happen. I have to go for this again to the home page. So and it was not an exception, it's a resolvement. So we go to this one and do again a click on the service, and then on integration artifact deployments, the last data collection, just to see the job, the last pull to cloud integration, and that was 9:55. Unfortunately, I have to move back here. It was 9:55, yeah. In the MPL, a bit later, it should work now. This was the other one, the first. This was the one here. It can be that it's a little bit too early, that we have to wait 5 minutes. And therefore, if we have this time to wait, let us take the time to explain you what we have here in this overview page of the integration exception monitoring. There are different things that I haven't mentioned. So what you see here above, not only the last refresh, we have seen this already, but we have also the scope. We have talked about that. So at the moment, and that's the default, if you go into this define a new time frame dialog, you are seeing the latest ones. So what you can also do here, you can say, I would like to see the data collection of the last 14 days, and not only for the last hour, something like that. Or you can say for the last 7 days, and then you can see, you can define it, you can really define it as you like. And if the predefined are not sufficient, you can also add user-defined ones. And you have seen that here I have created some for the last 2, 3, 4, etc. days, and therefore it's easy to a little bit to change here the days. So here, for example, you see that we will have a lot of alerts. That is for the preparation of this session. But for the moment, I take only the ones of today. And I hope that in the meanwhile that we have a little bit information here for our AO21. Yes, now no. Alert, no exception. Today. I'm going to the default cloud integration service here. This is again here the wrong link, a little bit too up. You have to be really very precise. Where is EU2? Here. So it's okay, and you see a lot of additional exceptions and also resolved ones. You see, for example, that there are people who have some deployment exceptions, but they haven't corrected and deployed the iFlow. But for the one I had, this is my number here. You see in the column of status that it's resolved, so it's a green icon. And here above in the header, you see also that we have 9 different integration flows already available on this tenant. 4 are resolved and 5 are still in error, in an exception error. Just to go into the one that I have deployed with my user ID, you see again it is here deployed. So we have corrected it and everything is fine. So important is that you not only see the exception monitoring, the exception of an integration flow, you see also that it has happened, this exception, but now it's resolved. So it's both. And that's very helpful, because if you have getting an alert that there is an exception and you don't get the information that it's already resolved, it doesn't help. So we have both, and that's very helpful. With that, I'm going to the alert just to see how this look like in the alerts. So I have here the filter on that way. I'm do it now here on the other field, but again with the right user name. Apply this filter, and you see here the different iFlows I've deployed in the last time. But it's not available for that what I wanted to see. Interesting. I take another one. That was from the preparation part, and you can see that it's not from today. I can not say what happens here. Probably I've done something wrong. And you see here, this is not resolved, this one. But this is not the way I want to present it. It works all the time. Just check again the configuration here, what it doesn't. This should work. But it doesn't come up. So I would skip this for the self-managed part, and I will continue with the other one. So we have seen that we see the alerts here. Now context sensitive for E002. And this doesn't happen. Here the folks from the Cloud ALM team have to support. I don't know why this is not showing up. It should work. And I've seen it already. So, okay, what we have done. So we have corrected the integration flow. It is deployed now successfully. And it is working that, that you see both the exception, but also the resolved status in Cloud ALM. And we have also watched the deployed exception. We have done this. So we are clicking here under exceptions. This is exception page where you see the different services that we have in scope. You are clicking on the link of integration artifacts deployments. Then we have to wait until 5 minutes until really the data collection has happened. And after refreshment of the user interface, you will see really that the number of deployments would raise in if it's an exception, but now it's resolved, therefore it doesn't increase, of course, so nothing happened. But here you see then that the status of this issue that we had in the part is switching from red to green, and it is already resolved. And also you can see this in the details. Yes, and alerts, you see the same. We haven't seen it, because therefore it's probably good to see it here. So here in this example, you have seen that we had an exception, and several times later, therefore this red bar, several times later, someone has resolved. I have resolved this issue, corrected the channel IDs of the Process Direct adapter, and then the status of this alert is switching from arrow to OK. Yeah, and therefore this is fine, and everything is fine. In this case, an ops person, for example, would confirm under actions this alert, and all is fine. What we can do now is we can go to the search, the tracking part of integration and exception monitoring. And here you can search for custom header properties, for technical properties. So if you have a message ID, a correlation ID, this would help. Also, you can search for a package name, for senders, receivers, but important also the custom header properties. So I have used Groovy scripts to bring it into the custom header properties, some information, some properties, and then this we will leverage now. Go back to the integration exception monitoring. We are going to this magnifying icon for tracking. And here I'm just entering now my user ID, because this is one of the custom header properties. And you see that we have here a lot of things. And from today, I take just the last one. These are from the preparation. And here you see that we see one iFlow with my username. This is the last one. And this has been resolved. It's already completed. And yes, you see also other custom header properties that are relevant for this integration flow. We are at the moment in the message details. You'll see this in exercise 3 a little bit more. And here below, you see also all relevant other messages to this alert. You'll see other things so that are also part of that, both completed. This is wondering, okay, but you see here, yes, exactly. So we have a process direct with an iFlow with 2 different processes. And therefore, we have the 2 different processes here in place. And they have flow-to-flow communication, and you see here both parts. So this is the intention, that's fine. With that, back to the exercise. So we have done here the filtering in the alert. You can also go then to the email notification. You can check your inbox if you want. I just show you here also the email you would get, for example, in your inbox. This is only example, it's an exception. You see which service, which iFlow, then it's an arrow, who is responsible, and you have the link directly to the alerting part, to this alert within integration exception monitoring. So this is all for exercise 2. So we have looked into the exception part, exception monitoring, and now we are switching to integration monitoring. That's completely different use case. And here we have another scenario prepared. So you will have to be, of course, in Cloud ALM. And first of all, the introduction of the scenario. We have here an external workforce business scenario injected as a demo in our Cloud ALM tenant. This is really extracted from a real system. It's part, this external workforce is part of the SAP S/4HANA lean procurement. And you see in SAP API Business Hub different iFlows. I'm just opening one. And you see here the iFlow of that. And the others are also available. And within this exercise, you have also access to the documentation and to the business best practices of this scenario if you want to look a little bit deeper into this scenario we have used, that we have leveraged. So what is this about? So in field glass, work order is sending over to S/4HANA Cloud. And we have 3 different iFlows. So the work order is sent to S/4HANA and back the status and then also the order. So 3 different iFlows, and we will see this directly in our integration and exception monitoring. So here in integration exception monitoring, just going to the home page again, and now we are doing a scope selection. We take the business service, yes, exactly this one. But I would like to move out the other ones. Okay, this other one is also now. Just to click on go. And now you can select the external workforce scenario, apply the selection. And now we have in this overview of the integration exception monitoring a complete other feeling. So you have a card with the same information here, and yes, and you see as I explained already. So this business scenarios has some issues. So what you can see, for example, here, yes, red, it means that all of these services that are included in this business scenario, they have at least 40 messages included, and therefore the business scenario itself is also rated as critical. What you can do here also, just to be a little bit here on this overview page, you can set a lot of things under favorite. No, the favorite is not coming up. You can see here also the operations. So here you see from the Cloud Availability Center the business service procedures. So if a service the maintenance, for example, is planned, here it's getting the color is changing, or is if the service is disrupted, you just get also in this view, in this overview, the information on the different business services and also the systems and cloud services. So if you have, imagine you have your complete integration, your complete IT landscape under yes, available here in this view, you see that where something is happening, also where is maintenance issues happening, and so on. This is probably also interesting for you. About the data quality, we have spoken already. Here we have some data quality issues because this is a demo data that we have injected. Therefore, you cannot also it's not possible to jump, for example, to local monitoring. That's not the case. This I haven't shown to you. probably we can do it at the end. We are going now here to the details. And also not to forget to do this the same with the exercise. So we have done the scope selection. And if it's necessary, because you don't see that notes, you can also change here the time frame, for example, from today to this week, and then you can assure that you really have the demo data available. Then we would jump from this view where you see the card to the next view. This is the topology view. Just go this. Yes, I've clicked already on that. I show it you to again. External workflows, go to details. And here you have a view, a topology view. You can really see that messages are sent from Fieldglass to S/4HANA Cloud over the integration suite. And you click, for example, on Fieldglass and see that we have here messages. So at all in 29 messages have been exchanged, but we have 2 alerts. And in Fieldglass, for example, we have 1 error and 1 message in warning, and 5 are okay. This is the view regarding Fieldglass, and with S/4HANA Cloud, we have a little bit different view, different numbers of messages, because we have different iflows in this business scenario. Here, we are not polling, for example, for information, pulling for information for S/4HANA Cloud. Instead, Cloud ALM is pushed by AIF messages. And therefore, this is a little bit different. For cloud integration, ALM is pulling. So with that, we are jumping to the CPI. And here you can just click on the integration suite messages to see all messages. Or if you want to see only the 41, you can also click on this red part, this 1 arrow. But we want to see all. Therefore, I'm clicking on all messages. And this is here now a view on all messages. So you see here not the other things, really only messages on cloud integration for this specific business scenario. So we have the business scenario external workforce in scope. And we have here also here, we have clicked down, we have drilled down to this business scenario. And we are now within this business scenario in one of the nodes, it's cloud integration. And we have also selected a time frame. So therefore, you see exactly these messages within this time frame. And you can further filter, for example, with headers. You can just see only the errors or the successful ones. I can clear it here on the upper right corner. Or if you want to see only specific iflows that are related to this business scenario, you can click on that. So different kind of filter options are possible. What I would like to do now, I've cleared all filters again. I am clicking now on the first message. And here, I'm now again in the message details. And in the lower part, you see, again, such a message path. So this message path is assembled. And for this, the SAP passport approach is used. So we have a transaction ID and a previous component ID. And with that, we have an identifier. Just to, you can look on that here, this is a passport. So we have a transaction ID, and we see also the previous component name here. And with that, we can really assemble a kind of a message path. What I haven't shown before, and that was my mistake, because this jumping from the examples from the exercise in GitHub to the real system, please in your exercise 2, have a look and jump directly from your exception or resolved message to the local cloud integration monitoring. This works, and this is really good because you are directly jumping to the MPL monitor. And with that, you have everything in place to resolve, for example, an issue. This is very important. Here within this area because it's only demo data that we have injected to SAP Cloud ALM. This is not possible, of course, but that's just to mention that. So what we have here below, we have this assembled message path, and you see also here below the different artifact names, so the iflows, different iflows that happens for this message. So we are related to each other, and this helps very much to find an issue. Yeah, that's important. So okay, with that I am jumping back, and move this complete, and we can go to the next point. So we have seen the topology where you see really the scenario. You can see how many messages failed and are correct in the different nodes of a business scenario. And we can jump then to the overview here to see just really all the integration suite messages in the context of a business scenario. This is this area. And then we have also seen that we can jump to a single message. And within this single message, we have clicked on this single message from the integration suite messages, the list, and we have seen that we have this assembled message path. You can see the different iflows that are related to this message because the messages are here interrelated. You see the different message IDs, and this helps to figure out if some issues are happening. And we can do the same also for a failed one. Just do this for the integration messages. We go back with a breadcrumb, not with a browser back, please. And now we are clicking only on the arrow messages. We have only one. Click on that, and we go to the message detail of this failed message. And you see here that this is red in this part, and S/4HANA Cloud hasn't received any message. Here something has happened in between, and what we can already recognize here, it's a JavaScript exception. And if it's running in a live landscape, you would go into the local monitoring and just have a look what happened there. Okay, and we are going then back to the homepage and search now for a failed message. Yeah. Here we are going to the homepage. Or we can also use directly the tracking, the search. I remove my user ID here. For business scenarios, it's necessary to select from the drop-down list the business scenario. And then I want to search for a specific message. I've taken only the first characters of that. That's completely sufficient. And you see this message and you can navigate further. So here it's very important, if you get an information that a message has stuck in your system landscape, and you're even not aware to which business scenario it's related, you know only the message ID, for example, or any other business context, you can search here. In this case, I've selected the business scenario. You can also click then on this message, and you are again in the message details that we have seen before. You can jump to the local monitoring and get more information, like what is happening here. I can't see the details here at the moment. Okay. This is for the tracking, and I think this is really helpful because you can actively really search for exceptions or for failed messages, for issues that we have in your IT landscape. And this is really cross-component. Regardless, you don't have to say it's for a specific S/4HANA instance or it's for a specific cloud integration tenant. You can just type in the message ID or the business context that you have really exposed by your component. So Cloud ALM has to know it. So this is the search of a failed message. So I've used here the example that we have seen before. And we can do we can see this also in the alerts. So here this is again proactive. You can react then on what you get in the alert or in your inbox, email inbox. And we do this now again also in the system. We are going from the homepage in the footer of our card. You can go to the alerts, but also directly here in this part. And here again, the scope selection is taking place, and I can't see any. Then we can have a look into here the grouped alert. So here we have an aggregated alert where you would see different alerts, single alerts have happened. So we have here a technical issue, pushing web service API. You could go here into the details with the ID and have a little bit more information on what is happening in the header, what you can see in the application, and also the sub passport where you assemble this message bar. So thanks, Markus, in the back. That's really good. So if you see some things where I oversee some things, that's really good. Okay, perfect. So we have seen here also the alert in the alerting part of that messages that has been failed. You see here also in the screenshot that the iFlow is mentioned, not only the ID, but you can see really the iFlow. You see a little bit information regarding the error, and you can navigate forward also to local monitoring. And with that, you have everything in place to really oversee your IT landscape and react on issues that be in your alerting inbox. Good. That's that for exercise 3. And it's good that we have enough time. We are good in time. We can jump to the next use case in Cloud ALM. We are jumping now to health monitoring. So here, health monitoring. We have a completely different use case. We are not looking on the messages. We are not looking on deployment exceptions if it's with the regards of integration suite. We are looking now on technical issues that services would have. And therefore, what we have done as a preparation for this exercise is the following. So we have here, we have for integration suite, we have the possibility to track the certificates, whether they are outdated or not, the validity of the certificates. That's one thing that we can really track. And also, therefore, of course, I've uploaded some certificates. Some will be valid for a longer time, then others will expire very soon. So we have a kind of a balance to see different things here. And I've also artificially created some JMS queues and filled it in with some messages just to have a kind of a live landscape, just to see something that would be possible. So with the health monitoring, it's possible to monitor exhausted resources and really the technical status of a service. And we do this now with the cloud integration tenant. We are going to health monitoring from the homepage of SAP Cloud ALM and do again here a scoping within health monitoring. Looks a little bit different, but it is the same. And we are doing this now from good. Outdated. So you have the link to Cloud ALM in all the exercises. You can direct jump to that. We are going again to Cloud ALM for operations. See integration exception monitoring, other things, also the email creation, and we are going now to health monitoring. So here at the moment, nothing's in scope, and we do this now here together. So we keep this. I take all the default ones. The self-managed one is not necessary. I think we can just take the default ones because you see exactly the same. activation regarding the alerts, it might be that we do this later. So what we can see here now, this is the overview in health monitoring. Imagine again that you have also other types of cloud services like S/4HANA, Fieldglass, and Ariba, and so on. You will see for each type of a service or on-premise system a tile here. Here is a tile for Cloud ALM itself, and here's a tile for the cloud integration capability of SAP Integration Suite. So we have here in scope our 6 default cloud integration services. But here below, you see more services in the favorite. So I've set this favorite here, therefore the card comes below. And these are all registered cloud integration services. That's the reason why here the number differs. Probably interesting to you and before the questions coming into the chat. So here are really all registered cloud integrations coming into place. And above you see only the one that are in scope. Now we're going into this card. Please take the header. The link is only in the header. And we are jumping then into the monitoring page in health monitoring. And you see here the different cloud integration services, the default ones that we have. You see here also the status from the Cloud Availability Center. You see here the alerts that are in place for the technical health alerts that are in place for these services. So exception or failed messages are not available here. And you see here a service health rating. So how is this counted? This is a little bit interesting, and therefore probably I go into the details here in the exercise. So here again, you can go into the details of the overview page. I've written it down again, what is about, what you can do here with the different icons in the overview page. But I think this is not part here of really executing the exercise. It's for your information mainly. And then we have gone into the monitoring page by clicking on a service type card. And here we are now in this monitoring page, and you see that the health percentage for this selected domain is 85, and it's rated in orange, so it's in warning. So now how to calculate now this rating? Very, very shortly, you can read it later a little more. So we have different metrics. For example, a certificate is a metric, or a queue status is a metric, or the capacity of queues in total is a metric, things like that. So we have a rating on a metric level, and this is really coming from a data API from Cloud Integration. This metric is then matched to a high score. Then we have a mean of a high score for the service, and this high score is really then actually really matched again to a service rating. One thing is if we have a fatal in one of the metrics in a Cloud Integration tenant or on the service, then the overall service rating is critical. We can't change it. For the others, it's really then a mix. It's the average of that. We have additionally some metrics that have only informative characters, and these are not counting into this calculation. Yeah. So this is a place, and that's the reason why we have these numbers in this monitoring page. With that, we can go to the metrics themselves. So we are in this monitoring, in this metric overview page. We are selecting now a different default cloud integration service, not AU02, as I've used in the exercise 02. So we can use any other, so not that one that is assigned to you through the Tenant Booker app. Therefore, we are taking the 01 just to see the same. I think that would be the best. And we are looking into the details of what we have opened in here. So I'm just going now to the health monitoring. We are selecting BPG02. And what you can see here, this is for me, the center place of health monitoring. Here you see really for one specific cloud integration service, so for Tenant, the metrics and also the ratings. So for integration suite, for cloud integration specifically, we have two parts. We have the certificate validity. So we can see, for example, for this specific tenant that we have 13 certificates in place. They're running fine, but one will be expire very soon. Therefore, it's in warning state. We can just click on this tile, and then we see here the details. So this is in warning state. It will be expire in 18 days. That's fine. And we have the same information also in the local monitoring. You can exactly see the same. Just do it for APJ01. We can do that here. Wait a second. APJ01 in a new tab. And next time. Sorry for that, for the waiting time. And then we go to monitoring integrations and to the message queues. You see here the different queues that I've created and filled in. One is I have said I've stopped. Yeah, really, we can stop it. The others here, just to see the status, I have removed here the size, and therefore it's easier to get the capacity really filled up. And the overall of the resources are in warning. And that's what we have seen in health monitoring. It's exactly the same information. But what is really helpful is that you have here an overview on the different metrics very, very quickly. So here you see the certificates, and you see also under the information icon what we get from the cloud integration directly. So this from what we have seen just before, 1 minute before. So this is the metric that we get from cloud integration. And below you see another area of JMS resources. Here we have different kind of metrics, therefore different kind of cards. For example, here we have the number of JMS queues, but here again the capacity, what I've seen. Yeah, and this we have seen before. So exactly, that was the thing, the capacity, not the certificates. So this is exactly what we've got from the cloud integration area. And what is also interesting is the history. When you go click on this history part. So yesterday for this, I think it was for this one, I've explained it here in the text. Okay, you have this one, just go then into the details of the metrics. So we have clicked on the certificates validity, have seen the different certificates that are available. We have seen how to see what we get from the cloud integration. Yeah, that's an internal data API. We can see also the queue status here. Here you see that, for example, one queue is stopped. This is the information from integration suite. One is already critical because its own queue capacity is reduced, and therefore it's coming very easily to this limit. And then we can go to our metrics. I can show this you in a second and see different things here. And we will do this now. That's, I think, the best. And later on we can do we can do this later. Just go to the all metrics, really the order of the exercise. What you can see here that we have different kind of metrics, really metric types. So we have here quotas, we have status, we have performance, and we have also ones under rating where you see only the I, the informative. So these things like the number of queues are not really relevant to calculate for a service rating. Therefore, these kind of information are not included in the calculation of the health. But of course, here are these areas that are interesting. And regarding the capacity, and therefore I wanted to check exactly these are filtering options, grouping options that are possible within this metric page. You can filter on different things and therefore squeeze the number of metrics that are available and look into the details. I've explained here this in more detail. Here the history, this is interesting. And here I've done that for which APJ01, that's fine. We can also see history, what happened. And this is interesting when you do this for APJ01, the capacity on the history. So you can jump to the 15th, and I've set here something around exactly 5 o'clock. It was yesterday until 5, yeah, something like that. You see here that in this time I filled, for example, a queue, a specific queue, and therefore the limit is not reached, but we've got the warning for this capacity, total capacity of the queues in APJ01. Yeah. So this is the thing that I wanted to show you for the health monitoring for this page here. And exactly then we can group it. Interesting is to group for certificates, and this is probably also a thing that we can do under our metrics altogether. So I have here a group, a filtering, where I can, for example, also filter. I do this quickly, we have enough time. Critical, fatal, and warning. And you see all the most important things very directly. Or you can just reset this again and do a grouping on different types. And here with that, you see the different types of metrics that we have. So we have certificates, we have other kind of certificates. So we have different kind of JMSQ metrics. And if you, for example, just search only for certificates, you will see all certificates that we have. And to differentiate, we have the certificates in themselves, but we have also keepers. So they are also included in the metrics, in the metric overview. Exactly. And with that, I would like to go to the activation of alerts. So if you want to do this with your self-managed cloud integration service, this is also possible. We are selecting then bringing this self-managed cloud integration service also into the scope, and then we go into the configuration. So go to the scope again, and I would add my self-managed service. Go to the home page, and here this is the configuration part. Here we can expand this tray. We see the different default ones, but also the one that is my self-managed cloud integration. And here you see different metrics. So when will alert will really triggered? This is the case when a threshold is reached. Out of scope of this exercise is to play with the thresholds. What we can do, we can work here with the events. So the events for my self-managed cloud integration service are not activated. Just to show you how to do that, I've selected brought this self-management into the scope. So we only have to activate the alert by switching here the toggle. Again, you can also bring in this here the email notification if you want, as we have done it in the integration exception monitoring. Do a save, and please wait until the data is really saved. And then you can do the next also for all the other events. Take a little bit time. And of course, because this is now activated now, and the data injection happens already before, we can't see it in the alert. But this is the way how you activate the events. You can close the configuration, and that's all. Close also here the configuration, this right panel, and that's all. Good. So this is the way how you activate alerts in health monitoring. So you can add also email recipients when an event happens, and it should really look like this then at the end, after you have activated all the different alerts. It's really metric dependent, so you can have alerts only for some of the metrics. You don't have to activate all of them. And with that, we are going to the alerts of health monitoring. You can do this in different ways. So you can click on a tile of this footer, and then you get really the alerts of all integration suite tenants that are in scope. The same is here the way if you click on the alert button in the left side navigation. But if you're here, for example, in this monitoring view, you can also use here within the column alert the number of alerts, and then context sensitive, you would get the alerts only for this specific cloud integration service. Yeah? And again, you can do the filtering, but I can show this again directly in the system. So I will take the way that we see all events that happens here over our different 6 tenants. So what you can see here, we have different kind of alert names on depending on the metric. So JMS queues, queue status, expired certificates, and on here on the object details, you see, for example, for the queue status alerts that you can see different kind of queues. So this queue, for example, I will go into the details of this one, for example, the status. Here you see that this queue has been stopped. You get the error message directly in the alert details. And you can really act on this alert again. You can confirm it to delete it out of the alert in inbox, or you can comment it or bring it up to a colleague. As you make this. Then we can go close this again, and then we can use the filtering and search only on certificates, for example. Take it shortly. Then you see the different alerts that we have got regarding certificates. Let us take the first one that we have here for Europe 01. On this second tenant that we have prepared, we have 4 certificates that will expire soon in 18 days or had already expired. So therefore here, this is absolutely urgent to work on, yeah, as an example. And for the others, you see this is the same way. Specific for this alert is that you see here under single alerts, the different certificates. So not for each certificate in a separate alert. Then I close this specific alerting again. And as you see, we have to bring it out again. Now the status, and apply this filtering. Now you see the status alerts regarding JMS queues, and here you see different queues. Let us one queue is for success factors and per error. The other is for the CX service order asynchronous messages or asynchronous communication, and therefore I take just the first one. You see that the queue is stopped for this specific success factors queue, and therefore we know how to handle that. And that's one example. And the other is for the warning that we have here. And here you see that the JMS resources are critical. So we have reduced the queue limit capacity, and therefore this has been reached. You can also go into the history again and find when this has happened, and just to really see how to figure out where the issue is, and this helps you in resolving the issue. Yeah. Then a next example is the status. What is missing is the capacity, and I think we have seen this already. Capacity, sufficient. And you see here, for example, for APJ1, what I've shown you before, also in metric overview, that we had here an issue since yesterday, and we would be able also to get here into the history and find where the curve is getting up, what we have seen before in the other part of the health monitoring. So this is, I think, what I wanted to show you regarding the alerts. So we have gone through the capacity. We have seen that here's a good example that I can't show you in this live system, but this is a screenshot from November 9th. And here, for example, for this alert that happens in APJ02, we have seen that the capacity was really bad, but it's getting better. So we have resolved, we have put out of the queues some messages, and therefore the limit is not reached anymore. And you see with that also that the alert or the situation is getting better. And this helps, for example, also in the issue resolution process. Regarding certificates that we have seen, that we can see a different kind of certificates that are outdated. Yes, and regarding the status here, again, you see a screenshot with the evolution, how this, or what happened here for this queue capacity in this house also. Exactly. Then that was the same here for the other part, where we have here the capacity reach for a specific queue. For the other here, that was it was stopped. We can't see it because this is an overlay. So this queue here has been stopped, and here the limit is reached. And this helps you, I think, really you're getting an alert for exhausting resources of cloud integration or of expired certificates at one place. You don't have to hop from one tenant to the others, because you're in one place, and just in the overview page of the health monitoring, here up front, you already see that something has to be done. And this is, I think, very helpful to do. That's the reason why we, from the integration suite part, we have integrated with Cloud ALM, because you see here, this view, you see what is a service health rate and where to do some stuff. So when it's critical in red, something has to be done, but already in warning, you see that you have to react somehow on specific tenants. And then you have to jump to the local monitoring, of course, to really handle, to react on that, because in cloud integration and in Cloud ALM, you can't do a configuration. This has to be done really directly in the local monitoring, in the local applications of integration suite. But forward navigation to the monitoring is possible. And with that, we are at the end. Oh, we have 3 minutes. That's perfect. And with that, I can jump to the Q&A and just bring this up. I have no clue. Probably Markus, you can help me, because you have also observed the Q&A part. This is not the right one. Wait a second. And bring this up. Oh, also not. So I haven't opened it. Okay. Is there any open questions where we can discuss? Markus is as a speaker.
Everything has answered already.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything yet that you want to mention regarding the both use cases that we have in Cloud ALM? So integration, exception monitoring, health monitoring. So of course we have also other parts in Cloud ALM, but interesting with the regards of integration suite, it's mainly the integration exception monitoring to really observe whether a deployment exception has happened, or whether we have failed messages in business scenarios, and really do a drill down to a specific message detail, and really then jump also to the local monitoring. And in health monitoring, we have this technical health overview. You have a service rating that helps you to get attention on a specific cloud integration tenant and see where to first work on. And I think this helps because you don't have to jump in the complete landscape. So you don't have only a cloud integration or the integration suite in mind. You have in your IT landscape a lot of services, and therefore you see whether we have to go into the details of S/4HANA Cloud or Ariba or integration suite and so on. So a central place where you oversee health monitoring and integration monitoring.